What's up, YouTube? My Verdant Kid here, coming to you again. How's everybody doing out there? This is a response, actually, to a friend of mine, um, known as Movie Geek 17. I know him by his real name, Alex. Um, Hope everything is well on his end, as always. Uh, but I also thought about, I was going to talk about this anyway, but it seems that the marksman of the Avengers is getting a new ongoing series. And I'm talking about Clint Barton, Mr. Hawkeye. And that's cool, right? Yeah, that's cool. But here's the part where a lot of people might say, okay, Chris, but who's writing it? Who's the artist? Matt Fraction and David Aja, the same two guys that were on the Immortal Iron Fist book. Now, let me explain a little bit about Matt Fraction. Wasn't the head writer on that book when that book came out in 2007. It was actually Brubaker. Ed Brubaker was writing, then Matt took over. And I did like the book because I'm a huge fan of Iron Fist. So I was like, okay. And that was when I was really at high with Fraction. But now, a lot of people, when you think of Fraction, it's like a hit and a miss with him. You know what I'm saying? It's like I have friends that my mentor says he's a fail. I mean, you look at his runs. I mean, look at his run of Uncanny X-Men. Fail. Okay, look at his run of currently, what am I reading that he's writing? Thor, Mighty Thor. It's there. It's deadlocked. It's not a fail and it's not a miss. It's not a fail and it's not superb. His Defenders book, right there. The best book, of course, that he writes is Invincible Iron Man. And I'm hearing he's going to be leaving that book soon. So he moves on now to another Avenger, Hawkeye. Now, how do I feel about this? Now, first of all, I've collected Hawkeye before when he had a series. They only let it go 12 issues, if I'm not mistaken. And that's kind of my biggest fear about this book, that it may not even last 12 issues, or after 12, it's going to be canceled. But the question of will I pick it up, I never say never. Never say never, because by far I probably will, because I am a supporter of Hawkeye. So that's the thing, is like, you say you like these characters, then you should support them, even if you're not a big fan of the writer. But from what I was reading on various sites, and one of the sites, Comic Vine, they talked about it. They interviewed David Aja and Fraction. They were talking about where they want to take Hawkeye in this, and this is not just going to be his book alone. He's going to be the main star, but there's going to be another person with him, and that's none other than Kate Bishop, from the Hawkeye from the Young Avengers. She's going to be like his protege, his working with him. So basically, this book is kind of basically Green Arrow and Speedy, and I don't mind that, because to me, I hate when people say, oh, Green Arrow came out first, so you give him more of the props and everything like that. But the fact of the matter is, Green Arrow and Clint are totally different characters. They may be bowmen, but they're totally different characters. And I've always respected Hawkeye because of the fact that he has no powers. He has no powers. I tend to root more for the non-powered heroes most of the time, kind of excluding who most of the time, because it's like he always finds a way to win. But with Hawkeye, it's more to the point of, he even explained it to Spider-Man one time, like why he constantly must keep on top of his game, because he feels that if he lets his guard down or slacks off, he's no use. He's not useful to the Avengers, and I respect that. I respect that a lot about him. Hawkeye has shown that he can be a great leader. He's led the Thunderbolts. He's leading the Secret Avengers now, you know, and he's good at it. So taking a character like Kate Bishop, who is the female version of him, that he even granted the name to, said if there can be two Hawkeyes. And since the rest of the Young Avengers are now full-fledged Avengers now, I can see why. And if you don't believe me, if you don't know how that's possible, well, you have to read Young Avengers, Children of the Crusade, to understand how they became full-fledged Avengers. But Hawkeye, the book, the artwork, David Aja's artwork is good. I had never complained about his artwork at all. I think the only thing I said that I wish he would do a little bit more is put a little bit more muscle tone into his characters, because most of the time every character looks very skinny and kind of frail in a little way. But other than that, it's still good. Um, so we definitely have to see where it goes with this. But I find it that I probably will pick it up. I'm not like I said, I'd never say never. But my fear, my biggest fear, is the fact that like I said, it may not last, but we don't know. We will have to see, because let's face it, when it comes to Fraction, Marvel sometimes is so far up his, you know, his ass. It's like, okay, we'll do everything, even if they know, you know. Let's face it, Fraction is a hit and miss. He's a hit and miss. He's like I won't compare him to Jeff Johns, but he is kind of a hit and miss sometimes. Sometimes there's some things he does good, and then there's things he just, he pretty much feels like he's got writer's block. Basically he starts to adapt the same story he did in a previous book into this book. But we'll see where this goes, guys. I find it very interesting to see. And besides that, and I'm glad to see Marvel has not forgotten about the Young Avengers. They're adding them into books and things like that. And who better for Kate Bishop to take advice from than the person her namesake is from? I mean, she was called other names before that, like Hawkingbird and things like that. But I mean, she even was using Hawkeye's old bow when I believe, who gave it to her? One of the Avengers gave it to her. So you got to give her credit where credit is due. So I'm looking forward to seeing where they take this. But they say they're going to take Hawkeye into a whole different direction that you've never seen him in. Now, we've heard that before, right? But we'll have to see. We'll just have to see. But I just wanted to give my thoughts on the Hawkeye ongoing series that's coming out later this year, I think, this summer or so. And just kind of finally get this response out to Alex about it. But I'm gonna support Hawkeye. I will support him. And I know, yeah, it's Hawkeye's not in a lot of books, and they're not really overexposing him, because how can you overexpose him when you got characters like Wolverine and people like that in 5, 6 books? Hawkeye's only in what, 2 books, the least. So this will be his 3rd book. Whatever, it's cool, no problem with me. But as always, thanks for listening. If you want to read the article, I will leave the links in the description so you can talk about it. But if you are fans of Hawkeye, I would love to get your input. I love input, guys. I say that countless times on my videos. I do love input. I love to hear your opinions about it. I'm not one of those crazy guys that be like, F your opinion. My opinion counts. No, I would love to hear your opinion. And other than that, take care.